Let's move on to part D. Again, you will always see this in the question again, typically a part D as well. Calculate the product moment correlation coefficient and the coefficient of determination. Again, that formula is given to you in the exam, and what you should recognize is that the letter OR refers to correlation. It doesn't refer to regression. We already did regression. Correlation talks about the relationship between two variables in terms of their strength, and that's what the OR refers to. So I don't know why it's not called a C. So again, that formula, I'm just going to expand it out. So you're going to observe something. What do you observe regarding this formula? If you notice this top line here, that top line is identical to the top line that we dealt with in the formula for B. Okay. And on the bottom line here, that was also featured in the formula for B. So again, you might like to make that note yourself if you want to write it down on a piece of paper. When you're dealing with the correlation coefficient formula, or when you're dealing with the OR formula, the top line is identical to B, and the bottom left of the formula is identical to the bottom in the formula for B. In other words, you already have these values found. So this is only worth 6 marks. It's because you've done 2/3 of it already. Okay. So all that's missing is us having to find out this part. Okay. And ideally, if I was doing this, and you've seen me doing it in class when I was working through it, when we were looking at the initial calculations, in other words, putting it up in a table, ideally I would have in another column here with y squared. And I didn't do it, and maybe it's just because if you look back on any other past exam papers, the solutions I always had it in here. Look, I don't know why I left it out. Maybe I just wanted to keep it together for part A, B, etc. So I would have a y squared in here, and I would start squaring each y value and sum that up, and I will put it in my correlation coefficient formula. I'm assuming I have it done here. Okay, no. So we're going to do this together, right? So this is a good exercise. So let's go back up. You mightn't obviously have the table in here, but you can help me out. Okay, just get your calculators ready if you have it there. We're going to square these values. All these values. So what's your 22 squared if anyone has it there handy?
484.
184.
484. Same again. 66.3.
The sum is 8122.69.
8122.69.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to use this as our sum of y squared. So I'm going to ask you to call that back to me, so because we're going to work through it. So r squared, I can always take my answer for the top line of B. You don't have to work through all this. So I'm going to go back to my B calculation. See here? That's my top line for B. This is my bottom line for B, and that's going to be now my top line for OR and my bottom left in the formula for OR. So 694.26. 694.26. The bottom part of the formula for B was 102.68, and it features here because this is identical to B, and this is new. Okay, so let's work out this part. 8 times the sum of y squared. So we got the sum of y squared, 8122.69. We're going to multiply that by 8. I don't have this featured in here, okay? And if you could write this down. I'm just going to write this note down. 8 times 8122.69, I think you said it was it?
Yeah.
8 times that minus, we see here again, 8 times the sum of y squared minus the sum of y to be squared. Note the differences. I should have emphasized this, and I did it in class. Note the differences between the sum of y squared and the sum of y in brackets to be squared. There's two totally different figures. What's in brackets is that y column summed up. So I'm just going to go back to it. There's the y column highlighted. Okay. 221.3. Okay. That's what we have on the bottom right of that formula that we're going to work through. So let's work through that figure. So that times 8 is 64,981, I think. And anyone have that squared, 221.3 squared? And if again you can't find the square in your calculator, just have 221.3 multiply 221.3. That's what I've just done here on my phone. 973.69, again, double check on that. And once we subtract one from the other, 16,007.8. I have an 8.5. I'm going to stick with that here, okay, just in case our numbers are slightly different in terms of the rounding. Yeah, it's just a little different, but don't start changing it, okay? You're right with the 8.3 because that's what I have here featured. So you'll see here that we have 16,007.83. Okay, I'm going to stick with the 8.3 now. And everything is all right. So we just work through, just keep on doing that. Never forget the square roots here. Always work through bringing those square roots down. So 102.68, the square root of that is 10.133. So make sure you have a calculator, scientific calculator that has that feature in there. So I'm going to double check on that. If anyone has it already, get the square root of 16,000. One, 226.5221. Again, you might be asking how many decimals does he want? I'm happy with 1 or 2 decimals, okay? Multiplying those out is going to give me the 1282.048. And that's divided into your 694.26. So let's work that out. So we have 0.5415. Can anyone tell me between what two numbers, two extremes, should a correlation coefficient fall within? 0 and 1, yeah. So at least I know I'm happy with that 0.54 because it falls between 0 and 1, or if it's negative, between 0 and -1. Okay. You're also asked to get the coefficient of determination. So we just square these values and there we are. Multiplying it by 100%, you have a 29%.